saying a long Om at the beginning is dangerous sometimes, because when I do it with kids, then as I keep on saying Om, they start up again. And so we've said like 7 Oms in the time that we should have said 3 times. So it's nice with the older group who can chant a long Om at the same pace. Okay. So why is the breath and the mind connected? Like was depicted in the circles for our artists here, we too have different layers to our personality. It's called the Pancha Koshas. And I'll briefly touch upon those. 5 layers, okay? The outermost layer, what you see here, the body, which is called the Annamaya Kosha. Anna means food, Maya means pervaded. This sheath is pervaded by food, meaning it came from food, it is sustained by food, it will turn into food one day as well. On that note, I'm very much interested in green burials now. I don't know if you know about this, but you know, in traditional Christian ceremonies, you're buried in a casket in a cemetery. Traditionally in Hinduism, we are cremated, so we're burned either on a pyre or in an electric furnace. But I was in Calgary, and this lady and I were talking about this, and she said that in Ahmedabad, they have the first solar crematorium, where they collect those solar rays and the bodies burn like that, because it's much more environmentally friendly and cost-effective too. Because often when we're burned, we're still in a casket. Those caskets are like $5,000 to $10,000. How much wood and plastic and cloth is used? So it's like, wow, really fascinating. And then she told me about a green burial, where you just are taken to a random spot and just buried, like no casket, nothing, just buried. No money, no casket, no, end product, right? You just become with the soil after that. And I thought, wow, this is a great way, we need that for the environment. I think I'm interested in the green burial now. Just something for everyone to think about. The sheep, this is the food sheep. It goes back to food. Thought control, see? This is what Sandipani does. Before, I remember not being at Sandipani, when I thought of one thing, I would go to the next thought, and I would be miles away from where I started. Here now I find that, based on the training at Sandipani, one can go really far, but bring it back. That thought control is still there. So this story fitted with that, okay? Don't think that I was lost. I knew where I was going. Inner to the body sheath is the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the breath. That sheath which regulates the breath. Inner to that is the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mental sheath. Inner to that is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the intellectual sheath. And inner to that is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss sheath. And whether you say inner to that or outer to that, is that Om, our true self. Now what's beside the Pranamaya Kosha? Which 2 sheaths? The Annamaya Kosha and the Manomaya Kosha. So that's why they're connected. Why do breath and mind go hand in hand? Because they're connected with each other. They're not separate from each other, not distinctly separate. And now to bring some more Advaita Vedanta into this. If I have a sword and I cover it with a sheath, does that sheath ever touch that blade? Never does. In the same way, I can have 5 sheaths, I can have 10 million sheaths. Those sheaths do not touch that joy, that Om, that inner self. What we call the sheaths, how we divide the sheaths is irrelevant. It's still a sheath. And the sheath does not affect that which it's covering. So our self, as much as we think that we're finite, we are still infinite. We just don't believe it yet. So this try it, think big, now I'm going to throw in just believe. These sheets. Now why does it say, like a bird in a cage, why is controlling the breath like doing that to the mind? If we brought in a group of birds here and we put them on this table, and I put a net on, those birds will chirp a lot, they wouldn't be able to fly. Now, when I remove that net, what will these birds automatically do? Fly away. It's not like they're going to just chill there afterwards, you know, oh, the net's gone, but we're just hanging out. They will fly away because it's the nature of a bird. In the same way, when I control my mind, when I quieten my mind through my breath, when I stop controlling my breath, what's going to happen to my mind? It's going to fly away. Keep this example in mind, because a lot of us are dependent on breathing now. That, you know, I'm going to control my anger through breathing. I'm going to be calm through breathing. Yes, you will control your anger and your mind through breathing. But when you stop controlling your breathing, your mind will revert to its nature. That's why this pranayama is a temporary quietening of the mind. It is not permanent. When I lift that cage up or that net up, those birds are gone. What is the message here? That if one cannot control their mind, then one should use breathing to just chill. If you're frustrated, watch the breath. If you're angry, watch the breath. Definitely, it makes the mind calmer. But let us not think that that's permanent. It is a temporary cessation of the mind going all over the place. An effective way to bring breath control is the 1-4-2 system. So, when you have your hand like this, your right hand preferably, put your thumb on your right nostril and your last 2 fingers on your left nostril. So you breathe in through your right nostril on a 1 count. That's called purak. Then put your right thumb on your right nostril. So now you're holding the breath for a count of 4. Okay? For a count of 4. And this is called kumbhak. Kumbhak. Then lift your last 2 fingers and exhale on a count of 2. And that's called rechak. Now, breathe in on a count of 1 through the left nostril. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 1, 2. It should be in this ratio. So you can do 2, 8, 4. You can do 3, 12, 6. But that's the ratio. 1, 4, 2. 1 in, 4, hold, 2 out. That is an effective way to bring this calmness of mind. If that's too complicated, just watch the breath. Watch the air go in through the nose. Watch the air go out through the nose. Don't try to control it. Just watch it. And that's called prana vikshana. Just watching the breath. Again, I reiterate, if you and I have a problem, a mental problem, by working with the breath is not going to cure that mental problem. In the same way, if I have a problem with my breathing, working on my mind is not going to cure that. If my hands are dirty and I think, okay, I'm just going to think, be pure, be clean, you're not going to get clean. If my mind is dirty, by using Purell 10 times a day, you're obsessive compulsive. You're not a Vedantic student. That will not clean the mind. Physical problems, physical solutions. Mental problems, mental solutions. Now, elaborating on this relationship, we move to the next shloka, shloka 12. The relationship between the breath and the mind. Chittavayavash chitkriya-yutaha Shakayodvayi shakti-mulaka Chittavayavash chitkriya-yutaha Shakayodvayi shakti-mulaka. What Ramana Maharshi says here is Chit and Vayavaha. So the mind, the Chit, the Chitta, and the breath. Yutaha. They are endowed or united with Chitti and Kriya. The mind is endowed with thinking ability, consciousness. And the breath is endowed with that kriya ability, that ability to energize. So, who cares? Shakayor Dvayi. They're both two branches of the Shakti Mulaka, of the same root. So the breath and the mind, they have the powers of energizing and understanding respectively. Both of these are powers of the same root or the same branch. The breath energizes. If you don't have breathing, there is no energy there. There's no transfer of oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. No breath, no energy.